Hey guys, well, it's October 5th now, and I just got home from my annual 3-week moose caribou trip in northern BC. Got home a little early. We had to cut the trip a little short because we were successful in getting a couple moose and a nice bull caribou. But the temperatures up north BC were pretty warm this year, unseasonable. So due to that, we had to cut the trip short and get home, get our meat processed and in the freezer. So that's all done now, and lots of meat for winter, thank goodness. So we're very fortunate. That also gives me a little bit of extra time, but not much, to prepare for my real journey this fall. So I'm sort of in the process of putting the icing on the cake, so to speak, and getting my few little items packed up and ready to roll for my next trip. And anybody that cares to watch this, a little bit of a background on what I'm talking about with this trip. 5 years ago, about 5 years ago now, I applied for the History Channel's Alone, and went through the casting process a little bit 5 years ago, and just due to personal reasons, work, family, whatnot, at that time I wasn't able to pursue it and see it through. So after a couple of interviews and some video submission and whatnot, I withdrew and just told the casting directors that I couldn't go any further at this time. And that was the end of it. And continued watching the show. I always liked the show and watched all the seasons with my wife. And anyways, this past January, I guess it was, end of January, early February, I got an email from a different casting director from the History Channel for Alone, and asking me if I would possibly be still interested in pursuing a spot, one of the 10 spots on season 11. So that was in beginning of 2023. And of course, quite a bit had changed for me in the past 5 years with my career and my family. So when I got that email, I was like, hell yeah, I'm all for it, and responded right away and started the process all over again. And so the actual casting process, I would say, probably began in about early March, with phone calls, a couple of phone calls with the casting director, followed by a Skype or Microsoft Teams sort of video interview that I did, and then I had to start with some video submissions, and I did all new video submissions. I started all over again and did a bunch of new stuff. I did include a little bit of my previous years of experience in the wilderness, and then I did a bunch of new stuff, submitted it to them, hours and hours and hours and hours of videos. I probably spent a total of, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks out in the bush, doing different tasks, showing different skills, from building shelters to setting fires, and everything in between. And anyways, it was a bit of a grueling process, but I was pretty excited about it and pretty excited for the opportunity. And that went on until about the end of May, and I was waiting to hear what was going to happen, if I was going to be selected for boot camp or what was going to go on. And I was waiting, but I was feeling pretty optimistic. I just felt like I had a really good chance at it. In the long run, I wasn't selected. They had their cast, and that was the end of it. So I got the email. I was pretty disappointed, pretty deflated, kind of questioning myself, my abilities, so on and so forth. And I had I wasn't doing it to be on TV. I didn't want to go on the show to be on TV. I know you are on TV, but that wasn't my purpose. And I wasn't going on the show for the money either. I wanted to go on the show for me and see what I could do. What could I accomplish? What has the past, I'm 52, going to be 53 in March. I've been in the bush hunting, fishing, camping, exploring, whatnot, my entire life since I was probably 14 years old. So, almost 40 years. And I wanted to see, did I absorb all that knowledge that I was taught? And some of the stuff I learned on my own. Could I do it? Could I survive? And that was my purpose behind doing it. Anyways, shortly after I found out that I wasn't accepted or I wasn't going any further, as I say, I was pretty disappointed, pretty heartbroken. And I was sitting around a campfire one night and a friend of mine said to me, well, why don't you just go and do it? And I kind of looked at him and I said, well, what do you mean? I tried and they didn't want me. And he goes, well, you don't need History Channel and you don't need the TV show. Like if you were doing it for you, go do it for you. Get some camera gear or more camera gear than what you have and go out and do it and duplicate what you would have done on the show. And it was like a light came on and I went, you know what, that's a great idea. So right then and there, the wheel started turning and planning began in my head of doing this. So fast forward, went through the summer and I broke the news to my wife and my kids, my girls, about what my plan was. And they all thought I completely lost my mind and was going through a midlife crisis and that I was crazy and a stupid thing to do and so on and so forth. And I just said, you know what, it's not a stupid thing to do. They didn't think it was a stupid thing to do. They were worried and they still are worried. They'll be worried until I'm home safe and sound. But they never thought it was a stupid thing to do. They thought it was crazy. They thought it was just too much risk. Because I don't have backup like on loan. I don't have medics coming to check me. I don't have people bringing me SD cards and batteries and whatnot. I've got to rely entirely 100% on myself. I've got cameras and solar chargers and power banks and whatnot. So I'm hoping I can document absolutely everything and be able to recharge things without any help because I don't have any help. Anyways, my family thought I was crazy and they're very worried about it, but I just said it's something I have to do. I have to see this through now and I have to do it because I think I can and I have to test myself. So they're accepting of it now. They're not very happy, but they're on board with it. I'm sure they'll all be glad when it's over. But I've assured them that I'll do what I have to do to be safe. I'll make the call when the time comes to pull myself to call it quits, but I need to go see what I can do. And in the meantime, I reached out to a fellow that lives in the interior of British Columbia. I'm on the coast of British Columbia, but I spend all my mountain bush time in the central interior and northern BC, right on the BC-Yukon border. Anyways, I met a fellow that has a channel on YouTube, and he applied for season 8, which was a season 8 of Alone, which was on Chilko Lake, and he's from that area, and he's a First Nations Native fella that I met through YouTube, and he went through the same process as me and felt exactly as I did, and he really helped me. Because he basically, through messages, said to me that, it's a TV show and they're looking for a cast to make this show complete. And, there can only be so many people like him or myself on that show. They could do an entire show of fully experienced, qualified people, but it might not make that good of a show. It might make a great show. Maybe that's something they need to consider. Do all people that aren't going to tap out day 1, day 5, day 10, really do some screening and pick people that are there for the long haul and people that You know, there's been some people that have made it, there's been people make it 90 days, 100 days. So, but what a show that would be, a bunch of people that are there for the long haul. How long could it go? How long could it last? Anyways, this fellow on YouTube from the interior BC that I spoke with said, you know, don't let it discourage you. You know, you obviously have the skills. You made it to that point, but they had a cast to fill, and your spot was already filled. And I took that to heart, and I took that in a good way. And he's right. So, anyways, I'm babbling a little bit, but I just wanted to mention, you know, this fellow. I don't want to say his YouTube channel because I haven't talked to him about it, but he knows who he is if he ever sees this. That was a huge help to me because made me realize that, you know, yeah, I am good at what I do. I've survived lots of times out in the wilderness with nothing, been lost, been stuck in storms, you know, been able to be picked up by float planes on flying trips, and had to survive and make it, and I'm here. And that's what I'm planning to go do now. I'm planning to go up into central interior, into the wilderness. I'll have the 10 items that I would have taken on season 11 of Alone. I'll do a little preview of those 10 items. No food, no water treatment tablets, filter systems, no nothing. It's basically exactly as I would have gone on the show, except I'm taking my own camera gear. Hope it's good enough, hope it lasts, and hope it works. I don't have a satellite phone, but I do have an inReach, and that inReach will allow me to two things. That inReach will allow me to, if I need attention, if I need help, that inReach will allow me to message my wife. And I also have a very good friend of mine that lives fairly close to the area that I'm going into. She knows it quite well. She's a paramedic, and she can come out and attend to me if I'm in the state that I can't get back out to my vehicle and get myself out. But I do have the inReach to reach for emergency help if need be. Also, the inReach has an emergency button, SOS button. In case of an extreme emergency, you can hit that SOS button and somebody will be to you within a few hours. At the area that I'm going to, somebody would probably be to me within an hour and a half or so. So I do have a little bit of safety measures, but I don't have any support. I don't have, not that anybody on Alone has support, but they do have the support in the fact of memory cards, batteries being brought into them, medical checks. I don't have that. I'm going to have to rely on my own wit, and if I'm feeling something's not right, I've got to be smart enough to end it and tap out, which I will do. I'm not going to jeopardize my life, and I'm not going to jeopardize my family and whatnot for this experiment. I'm going to be smart about this, but I'm going to go as long as I can, as hard as I can. There's not going to be much in the way of foraging. It's October. Again, I couldn't go in September because of my trip. First and foremost, I had to put meat in the freezer for my family. So that's done. It's October. I'm going to go. It's going to be cold, rainy, snowy, miserable, ugly. But whatever, it is what it is. And there's not going to be much in the way of foraging. I'm going to have to rely on game. There might be still rose hips that have some nutrition in them, but it's like I say, it's already snowed where I'm going. It's already dropped down to well below freezing, and it's anticipated to continue to do so. So like I say, I'll be relying mostly on game. Yeah, I'm gonna do a quick review of my gear, sort of show you the 10 items that I've got. Clothing wise, probably actually less than what's allowed on Alone. I'll take less clothing just because I don't need it. I've spent a lot of time in the winter in the backcountry, and I know what I need. And even on the show, I wouldn't have taken, there's some things I probably would have taken extra of that they allowed for, but there's things that I won't take just because I know I don't need them. But anyways, I'll maybe do a little bit of a clothing thing, but I'll definitely do a shot of my gear here. And And then, yeah, I'm going to head out, and when I get to the area I'm going to, day one, we'll be hiking into my remote spot. I don't know what that spot is yet, where it is. I just know the general area, and I'll look for what I need to survive, and that'll be where I build my shelter and call home for a while. So, anyways, enough babbling. I don't know if I'm gonna put this on YouTube or not. Some people have said, man, video everything and throw it on YouTube, and I do have a subscription on YouTube or a channel or whatever. There's nothing on it. I just started it so that I can talk to people for hunting, fishing, sort of whatnot. But who knows? Maybe I will post it on YouTube. Maybe there's people out there that want to see it. You know, it ain't going to be professional. I'm not a professional video person by any means. You know, I'm an average guy that absolutely lives for the outdoors. As you can see, my little room behind me here, this is in my shop, and it's where I have all my memories, you know, of all my hunts and my time in the wilderness and whatnot. You know, so yeah, I'm just an average dude, man. Maybe a little crazier than some, I don't know, but whatever. Crazy's good sometimes. Anyways, that's enough. I could go on for hours. Next up will be a little video shoot of my gear. Ciao.